Boris Johnson is not expected to strike a trade deal with the EU before the end of the transition period, according to the results of an Express. Readers voted in our poll on whether they think the Prime Minister will secure an agreement with Brussels before the end of the year. Some 74% of respondents said no, while 17% replied yes. 8% said maybe and 1% did not know. Commenting on the poll, one reader fumed, "Any deal the EU would find acceptable is not a deal we would find acceptable. Better to clear the decks, go WTO, re-establish our global presence as an independent, sovereign state and only then reopen initially informal discussions from an unencumbered starting point." The EU are still trapped in their groundless belief that we somehow remain a member or a client state and subject to their whims, rules and fancies. Only when they disabuse themselves of those notions could we even begin to talk sensibly with them. Another blasted, best way to a deal with the EU will be to walk away now. They will come running. We don't have another 20 years to wait for them. A third hit out, hopefully not. The EU will be history in a few years. Concentration should be with the rest of the world. The EU want to control us so much that Brexit is not a success. Over the last 4 years, time and time again they have proved why we were right to vote to leave. Another wrote, "Hope not. I fear a deal tied to the EU far more than I fear no deal." A fifth added, "So long as whichever option it is delivers a full departure, and full removal of all the remaining tentacles of the insidious EU political apparatus, frankly don't mind which way it goes." The UK left the EU on January 31 and is in a transition period with Brussels until the end of the year while the two sides attempt to negotiate a post-Brexit trade deal. But talks are deadlocked with fishing and state aid rules proving major sticking points. The eighth round of negotiations led by Lord Frost and his EU counterpart Michel Barnier takes place this week in London.